Every chat with an AI ends the same way. It gives you an answer, and then you do the work. You copy the reply, fix the formatting, build the spreadsheet, send the email. Yesterday, Andrew Ng, the man who taught half this industry machine learning, released a free open source answer to that. It's called OpenWorker, and instead of chatting, it hands you finished files. So I installed it, gave it 3 real jobs on my Mac, and planted a trap in the files to see if it would catch it. It caught it. Let me show you everything. OpenWorker launched July 23rd, the day before I recorded this. It's from Andrew Ng and Rohit Prasad, MIT licensed, 100% open source, and free though. You bring your own AI key, and that's the only thing that costs money. The pitch is one sentence: ask for an outcome, not an answer. You say, prepare the customer brief. It reads your files, works step by step, and saves a finished document you can open and send. And before anything consequential, sending, writing, running a command, isel, it stops and asks you first. Setup took me about 2 minutes for real. Download the app, open it, pick your model, and this is the part I love. It is not married to any AI company. Claude, OpenAI, Gemini, DeepSeek, Kimi, Mistral, 10 providers in the setup screen, or Ollama, which runs models on your own machine. No key, no cloud, $0. I pasted my OpenAI key, hit test, connected. It also offered to link my tools: Slack, Gmail, Calendar. But here's the detail that earned my trust. There's a continue without a sign in button. I clicked it, and everything still works. Your keys and your conversations stay on your Mac. Then the last piece: you grant it folders one by one with a checkbox for write access. Out of the box, it's locked in a sandbox and can only see what you explicitly handed. Now the tests. I built a fake client folder, the way real client folders actually look: a contract summary, quarterly review notes, a support ticket log, and a messy email thread. And I set a trap. The contract says 45 licensed seats. But buried in the email thread, the customer mentions they're now running 52. If the AI just skims, it misses those 7 extra seats. And that gap is exactly the kind of thing that costs real money in a renewal. One request: prepare a 1 page customer brief for Monday's renewal call and save it in the folder. Watch the progress panel. It writes itself a plan. Locate the files, synthesize, draft, verify. Then it works through the actual documents. And when it was ready to save, it didn't just write to my disk. It stopped and showed me the exact file it wanted to create. Every line with allow or deny. That's the approval gate. You'll see it every single time it touches something. Here's the brief it saved. Every number is right. The $54,000 contract. The August 15th renewal. All 3 open support tickets, each one's age calculated correctly for today's date. It even worked out that Monday's call means July 27th. 0 invented facts. But here's the moment that sold me. Account snapshot, line 4. Brightloom reports 52 active seats, 7 above licensed capacity. It caught the trap. It cross-read a contract and an email thread, spotted the mismatch, and filed it under expansion opportunity, not compliance problem. Sell them the 7 seats. That's not a summary. That's the read a good account manager gives you. Test 2. Numbers. Language models are famously shaky at arithmetic. So I generated a sales spreadsheet with 60 orders and computed the true totals myself, outside the app, before asking. Then, turn this into a quarterly report: revenue by region, by month, top product. And it did the one thing I hoped it would do. It refused to do mental math. It wrote itself a small Python script, ran it, and reconciled every total with code. You can see the script land in the artifacts panel. Region by region, month by month, every number matched my ground truth to the dollar. Grand total 15,454. When an AI computes instead of guessing, you can actually trust the report. Last test, the boring one that eats your afternoons. A folder of 5 invoices, name things like Doc3, Untitled, and Inv Final Final. I asked it to rename everything to a clean date vendor format and build a payables summary. It read every invoice and renamed all 5 perfectly. First try. And then, when it asked permission to create the summary file, I hit deny on purpose. Because a break you've never tested is not a break. It stopped cold. The run log shows 1 declined in red. No file was created. And it still politely told me the total in chat. I said, that was just me testing the breaks. Go ahead. It asked again. I allowed. Done. 5 invoices. Grand total $2,978.22. Exact to the cent. One honest gotcha. Folder permissions are per session. When I opened a new chat for test 2, it couldn't see my folder anymore. And instead of pretending, it stopped and said, source file not found, please grant access. 30 seconds of friction. And it's the safe default. Every new session starts locked. What I didn't test today, but is in the box. 40 connectors. Slack, Gmail, Outlook, GitHub, Jira, Notion, HubSpot, plus anything that speaks MCP. The Slack move is the headline. Mention OpenWorker in a channel. The work happens on your desktop with your tools, and the answer comes back as a thread reply. And there's an automations tab, a morning brief, a weekly digest, an inbox summary with an honest caveat printed right on the screen. Schedules only run while the app is running. This is not a cloud service. That's the point. So, what does it cost? The software? Nothing. Open source? MIT. What you pay for is the model, your key, your bill. My 3 tests today cost cents, not dollars. And if you want the $0 version, point it at Ollama, and every token runs on your own hardware. Nothing leaves your machine. For anyone handling client files under NDA, local model, local files, open code you can audit, that combination is the real unlock. Steal my prompt shape. Name the outcome, name the source folder, name the file you want at the end. Prepare a 1-page renewal brief from the Brightloom folder. Save it as brief.md. Outcome, source, destination. That pattern got me a correct deliverable on the first try. 3 times out of 3. Vague asks get you chat. Specific outcomes get you files. My verdict after a full day. This is a day 1 beta, and it looks like one in places. The Windows build isn't code signed yet, and you'll feel rough edges. But the core loop, real files in, verified deliverable out, with your hand on the brake, worked every single time I asked. It moves fast too, over 3,000 GitHub stars in its first day. And the Windows installer shipped while the website still says coming soon. With Andrew Ng behind it, this will not stay quiet. Who should install this today? If your week is briefs, spreadsheets, and messy folders, install it this afternoon. The file work alone pays for the setup. If you want it wired into Slack and email for a team, let the beta polish for a few weeks first. It updates itself. And if your data can't leave the building, OpenWorker plus a local model is honestly the best option I've seen at the price of free. Real talk! 90% of you watching haven't subscribed. On Facebook, subscribe is the supporter button. That is what keeps the lights on here. On YouTube, it's free. and it tells the algorithm to send you more. Subscribe to support us. I've packed everything from today into a free starter kit. The exact setup walkthrough, my 3 test prompts word for word, the folder permission rules, and the safety checklist. Comment the word worker, and my bot sends it over. If you're just getting started with AI tools, my beginner guides are linked below. Follow along on Instagram and Facebook for bite size AI, and the deep dive playbooks live here on YouTube. Subscribe so you don't miss one. See you in the next one.